whether you read chapter two or not, I think you're going to get value out of this because we do a pretty good job kind of unpacking it. Chapter two in Ninja Selling is really all about vibrations. It's about energy. And full disclosure, this is kind of a struggle for me to personally get on board with because I don't share the same, it almost feels spiritual for Kindle. And I'm not a very spiritual person. And so I have to for me I'll be, and you may have no issue with this. But for me it's just kind of hard to like get on board with the whole spiritual aspect of it. Now, I will absolutely concede, let's be real, we have all felt somebody's energy before, right? The somebody's vibe or whatever it may be. And
Yes.
so, it's an emotional state. We're giving off something here. Call it energy, a vibe, a present, an emotional tone, whatever. People pick it up. I'm sure you've probably picked up somebody else's energy or their vibe or just their presence, right? Somebody walks into a room and they either light the room up or they bring the room down. This is a real thing. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it is spiritual. Maybe this is, maybe something a little bit more scientific. There's lots of things we don't understand about our universe. We don't yet have a unified theory of physics with relativity and quantum mechanics. So, who knows? Could be anything, right? The point here is that there's something happening. Go ahead. What's up, Henry? Hey, jump in anytime. You don't got to raise your hand, right? We're not in third grade.
I just didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, my manager used to call it a mood setter.
Yeah.
She said because she had pulled me to the side, and I was young at the time. I was working at Forever 21. I was 21, and she was like, "Hey, I need for you to kind of pick up your mood because if you haven't noticed since you've been working, the store kind of runs off your energy. However you come in here, the rest of the story is no matter how they were before you came in here." And it had to make me open up my mind and my vision to not only watch how I come into the workplace, but now I'm aware that my emotions is not only affecting me, but it's affecting a whole business,
Hmm.
my coworkers, my managers, and which which really has nothing to do with me, but at the same time it does because the energy is real,
Hmm.
and I've been aware of energy ever since then. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's absolutely a real thing. And my wife has actually challenged me on this. She's kind of got onto me and said, "Oh, wait, who's echoing? Somebody's echoing. Might want to use push to talk." My wife has gotten me onto this before because if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm in a bad place, I bring down the mood of the whole home. And she has said, "Hey, the kids are tense, I'm tense, you're tense, whatever it may be." So it's a real thing for sure. A lot of times we end up being thermostats, and by that what I mean is we come in with our attitude, with our vibe, with our energy, whatever you want to call it. Um, we set the temperature in the room, and we need to be mindful of this. The cool thing about this is that this is about self-regulation. The whole idea of an energy or a vibe, or it's not magic. It's not magic. This is about self-regulation. I'm sure that everybody in here has probably, I mean, have you ever like had a conversation with somebody and you either trusted or distrusted them before they even finished a sentence based off of
Mhm.
how they were saying it, or that you just something happens, you get an icky, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're like, whoa, this dude is or this girl is the truth. And be it politician, used car salesman, realtors, uh, this can happen,
Yeah.
right? Something to be mindful of, and this wasn't in the actual text of the chapter, but something that I thought was a takeaway, and I want to share this with you. You're always broadcasting. You're always broadcasting something. It's always on. You're always sending something out. Now, you are both a sender and a receiver, but the point here is that you don't get to opt out of broadcasting. You're always sending something out there, right? The only thing that we get to control is what we choose to send out, what we choose to broadcast. And a lot of times people don't get to hear what it is that you intended to send out. They just feel the state or the mood or the energy that you're in. And I myself have to be very, very careful with this because I tend to walk around kind of just, smug face and I'm business, 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 business. I'm a really high D type personality if you're familiar with DISC. And sometimes I can just come off, if I can just be really frank and just, I come off like an asshole. Like that happens to me. And so I have to constantly check myself. Before I got on here today, I was like, I had like a little woosah moment, whatever, because I wanted to bring the right energy into this room today. Because if not, I'm gonna be like, okay, guys, let's get to it, rah, 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 and nobody likes that energy. Nobody likes that vibe. So, uh, people don't understand your intent. They really don't. And whenever you are trying to explain it away after the fact, at that point, all you're doing is damage control. You've lost the initiative. You've lost your ability to make a good first impression, and now you're left picking up the pieces, the tattered remnants of what could have been something really cool, an opportunity to make a real connection with somebody. So that was kind of a takeaway that I had that, you're always broadcasting. You don't get to choose if you're broadcasting or not. What you do get to choose is what it is that you're broadcasting. And something else, and this was kind of, and I would say, a big part of the text was that your thoughts, your feelings, whatever you spend your time kind of ruminating on, that's going to determine what you broadcast. If you are thinking and feeling negative, guess what? That's what people around you are going to feel. They're going to feel that negative energy. They're going to feel that negative vibe. And this is important when you're having conversations with everybody. Of course, we're looking at this through the lens of being a real estate professional. And this is you have to be careful whenever you're having a conversation with clients about this as well. I really, and just kind of maybe just admitting my own faults here, I had a conversation with a seller recently. It was literally this week. I think it was like Tuesday. Is that yesterday? Yesterday. This was a family that bought a home with me back in 22 at the height of the market. They've divorced, and so things got even harder for them. The gentleman that has the home that was awarded to him said, "Hey, I need to sell my house." So we started looking at numbers, and I could have been a lot more gentle. I could have been a lot more positive in my approach, and I did the thing that I always do. I'm really direct, really blunt, and I was just like, "Well, do you have $15,000 to bring to the table?" And like, just kind of, I could have reframed that a little differently. I could have, set that up for a softer landing. But also, and I had to check myself, and I thought about this as I was rereading this chapter yesterday, and it wasn't long after I had the conversation with him. It's because I'm kind of, about the market right now. I don't like where the market is. I don't like that sellers are struggling out there. I don't like that so many people bought in 2022 and now they're struggling. And so I projected all that on him. I projected all that on him. And, he might have been like, well, it's not the worst thing. Maybe if I really need to sell, I can maybe, try to scrape together my pennies or whatever. But I shut him down. Eh. So yeah, that was kind of I had some discomfort when I was rereading this yesterday. And it really kind of checked my mindset a little bit, I mean, has that ever happened to anybody else? Yeah, some head nods. Everyone's like, yeah, but I'm not gonna talk about it. Like, I get it. You're the one, Lisa. You're the
I
echo
am. I'm
monster.
sorry. Hang on.
Are you the one with the lisa.vet.help at
That's
Gmail
me.
too? Yeah, you probably gotta exit out of that one.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, is she on too? Oh,
Yes.
that's
There we
what's
go.
going on.
Yes.
I was gonna
There
say,
we
I
go.
will kick you, Lisa. That I didn't realize she was on with a duplicate account. That makes perfect sense.
I was on a different Zoom earlier
I
this
got
morning.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, well, because I think you were it sounded like you were trying to finish up some work, so you logged into one and then you got off your phone or whatever and got on the other
Yeah.
one. Is that how that went down? Yeah. I've totally done that before, and I'm like, oh God, now I'm in three places with 8 accounts, and I'm just like, what do I do?
I
Uh,
know it's bad. But I'm here.
I'm glad you're here. That's what's up. Both of you. So another thing that I kind of took away that like the Kendall kind of did a little bit of a callback to chapter one when he talked about the victim versus player energy and that mindset about how that it's that victim mindset that brings off that a victim energy, right? And it kind of goes back to that idea that whatever you think about, whatever you're feeling, that's what you're going to get off. So if you're thinking victim mindset, you're going to give off victim energy, and then you're going to repel opportunity. Anybody that might want to work with you and might want to be a part of what you have to offer them, they're going to be like, I'm actually good, you know. However, the inverse is also true. If you have a player mindset, if you have a winner vibe that you're giving off, that's positive energy that is going to do the opposite. That's going to attract people. And maybe somebody otherwise that was on the fence. Maybe they're like, this is kind of a new agent. I'm looking for somebody more experienced, or this person doesn't understand, maybe. And there's lots of different reasons why people may not automatically connect with somebody. It could be cultural, it could be language, it could, I mean, who knows? Who knows? But if you're giving off that positivity, somebody that otherwise might have, a hesitation to work with you may say, you know what? They've got it. What is it? I don't know, but they have it. And I want to be a part of it. Like, I need that in my life right now. So that's something to keep in mind. I would say, just kind of as a talking point here, nobody wants to follow fear. There's nothing wrong with concern, I walk around concerned all day long, but also have a plan to address said concerns. You don't want to be operating and making decisions out of fear. You don't want to be having conversations that is led by fear. Uh, and nothing's certain. That doesn't, that's not to say that you make promises that are unrealistic or untrue. I mean, have confidence, but confidence doesn't mean certainty. All it means is that there's an emotional steadiness, there's a resilience there, and you're going to project that. And so just be mindful of what phrases or tones let me ask you this. What phrases or tones have you heard people say that could maybe signal that victim energy or that victim mindset? What have you guys ever heard before? Nobody. Let me give
Nobody.
let me gi-
I'm trying
let
to
me give you
think.
As far as like,
let me give you some that I've heard, especially from new agents that I mentor. People nobody wants to work with me because I'm inexperienced.
Mm,
Oh, that's that whole fake it till you make it.
yep.
And I've heard that as well, which I completely disagree with, mind you. I don't think you should walk around with a mask on pretending like you're something you're not until you become that. I think there's some power in owning it and saying, uh, I am, maybe not, come out and say, oh, I haven't done a single deal at all. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm in a new and exciting industry and I have phenomenal resources at my disposal. I have a team of people that are available to mentor me. I'm a part of something huge and powerful. And you see what I'm saying? Now you put
Hmm.
the brand forward and you put this whole machine behind you and you're
Well,
owning the fact that, go ahead, Lisa.
also it's when you go in and you don't know something, you sit down and you exude confidence and you say, listen, I might
Hmm.
not know something, but I bet I know somebody that
Mhm.
does.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. And there's also a lot of power in saying,
or
I don't know.
what I do is, it's like invite them in your learning process. Hey, this is my
Mhm.
first time. I don't know this. We about to learn together. We in this together. Teamwork,
Yes.
teamwork. Make
And
them feel like
people
you're
love
family
that. They
Mhm.
and not
love
a
the fact that
transaction.
you're putting out that energy. They
Yeah.
love it.
Hmm.
They're
Well,
like, hey,
it's
if you don't know
genuine.
something, you're going to say, hey, I don't know this, but I know somebody that does. Give me a second.
Hmm.
And let's just get through this together. Let's hold hands and let's walk through this together, which is something that I do in my daily life.
So let me ask you a question. What would that signal or communicate about your overall self, about your overall character? So like a moment like that.
What do
It
you mean?
signals that, oh,
Whenever you do say to them, "Hey, I don't know, we're going to learn together," or whatever it may be. Whenever you do
Normally,
say, "I don't know," like let's find out.
normally they're quick to jump on board with me. They're like, okay, well, let she knows someone
Hmm.
because I let them know that my resources and my network is enormous,
Hmm.
you know? And if I don't know something, I know somebody that does because I'm experienced enough to where I might not be experienced enough in the topic that we're dealing with, but I'm experienced enough to know somebody that can help us walk through it
Hmm.
that is learned in that. And
Right.
it normally they're usually on board with it because they're like, well, Lisa knows. Lisa knows somebody.
and it kind of helps sets the tone of the whole process in general. Because if I imitate and fake it till I make it, like I'm somebody like Jeremy, and I'm spitting out this information, these people are expecting um, these people are expecting results in a timely manner
Mm-hmm.
versus me saying, "Hey, I don't know." That sets the tone. Like, okay, we're gonna be patient. They don't know. They have to find out. It's not a real quick thing.
That's a
So,
good one. It sets a tone.
Mm-hmm.
Your
That's
Exactly.
expectation
Yes, I
management,
like that
right?
too. Hmm. I would say in
right.
my situation, really accountability. When you take accountability, people look at you, differently. They want to work with you. It brings a trust factor in.
yeah, because you're telling them the truth. You're like, hey,
Hmm.
look, I don't
Exactly.
know this, but I know somebody
Hmm.
that specializes in this, and
Hmm.
they would be happy to help us. And it sets like a tone of trust
Hmm.
of
Exactly.
let's get this done together. She knows.
Yes.
And if she doesn't know, she knows somebody that does, and
Hmm.
she's gonna work through it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. That's just how I handle
No, and I
things.
think I think that's a huge and I think that you really hit the nail on the head there, I believe, Kayla, whenever you talked about trust.
Hmm.
Because that is huge right there to be able to say, "Hey, I don't know, but we're going to
Hmm.
find out." Immediately, what that tells that person is they're not going to lie to me.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
had let me tell you guys a quick little story. I had a guy that I was deployed with in Iraq, my second deployment. Man, when you deploy with somebody, and for those that were in the military, you fully understand this. For those that don't, you probably have heard the stories and at least have, in theory, an awareness of it. You form a very special bond with the men and women that you deploy with. And I bumped into this guy years later at HEB and was having a conversation with him. And it was like, holy crap, there's Sergeant Yingling. And we were, embraced with hugs, and I was like, oh my God, like we were almost both emotional. It was really cool. And he was like, oh, what have you been doing? Talked to him a little bit about it. And he learned quickly that I was a real estate professional. He said, I need to buy a house. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, dude, I'd love to be able to help you with this. And he was like, okay, but don't screw me on it. And that was
Oh,
so sad to me
yeah.
because then, like I said, we have a very special bond.
Hmm.
But such is the reputation of real estate professionals that he felt compelled to tell me, somebody that was so close to him, don't screw me on this.
Hmm.
Mm.
I was so sad. So trust is immensely important. And if you lead from a standpoint where you do reveal a little bit of yourself and say, hey, I don't know, that is going to form a trust bond. And they're going to go, you know what? This person's not going to screw me. They're not going to lie to me. They're going to keep it
Hmm.
real with me. People choose you based
Hmm.
off of how they feel. They're gonna use it's gonna be by emotion, and then they're gonna logically kind of like validate it later using logic,
Hmm.
the logic part of their brain, right? But their feeling is how they make their decision. So trust is an emotional thing, and we have to establish trust first, and they're gonna rationalize that later. But the very important thing first, boom, create that trust. And a lot of that comes with just being genuine, being authentic. And your vibe
Mhm.
is going to determine whether somebody leans into you or whether they pull back. People are not going to choose the most knowledgeable agent. They're not going to give
Mhm.
agents an aptitude test on their, how well they understand real estate. It's going to be about trust. They're going to make
That's the thing with like clients and everything because I work with a lot of the vets,
hmm
and you can't just walk in a room and be in a they're already in a bad place
hmm
in their head, majority of the people that I deal with. So when you walk in the room, you can't be overly excited, but you can't be all the way down.
Right, right.
Okay? Overly excited, they're like, what is she on?
Yeah.
Completely down and stone faced, they're like, what's going on? So you have to find a balance where
And
you
Wendy.
go in and it makes them feel safe to talk to you. You
Yes.
almost have to create a safe place.
Yes.
I
I
want to
like
give a
that.
little bit of context for others in the room that don't understand a lot of your work, Lisa. Lisa works with a lot of veterans, especially, PTSD veterans and different things. So I always, as a veteran who has struggled with PTSD myself, I've always made the joke that you a lot of times have to approach a PTSD veteran kind of like a stray dog that you found on the street. You want to help them, but sudden movements, you're going to scare them away.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, you can't be no, you can't be like that. And you have to watch what you say. You have to monitor your tone and you have to make when you get overly excited, they mimic your tone.
They're going to match
So
that.
when you
Mhm.
go in and you're talking to them, they end up taking you in and it is it's a trust thing. It's a she's got me, she's concerned about me, she knows
Mhm.
how to help me, and that's what it has to be. I believe that that's what it has to be with, even like you're talking about, even if somebody buys a $250,000 house, that's a lot of money.
Mhm.
Okay, and money, people start getting real
Okay.
crazy when it comes to money.
Yeah.
You want to sell the $600,000 house, but those are far and few between. So you're dealing with people that are wanting to come up with, and to them making that mortgage payment, that's money. So
Mhm.
you have to create the same kind of trust and the same kind of vibe with them. That's why I think I'll be good at this. I don't know. Who knows? But I'll give it a shot.
I think you would. You hit the nail on the head when you said that they mimic, you and how your vibe is and, how you talk to them. They actually mimic you. I like that.
Yeah, they do. If you go
Mhm.
in excitable, they'll respond excitable.
Yes,
If you go
exactly.
in and
Yes.
you want to control a situation, you keep your tone at
Mhm.
a steady situation and you wait
Yes.
and you pull it and you draw their emotion out
Mhm.
and you get them to ask the questions and
Yes.
then you pull the information from the questions that they ask.
Mhm.
Mhm. That's a ninja seller right there.
I was going to say these are actually really good techniques just to kind of
Yeah.
and we'll go into that and it talks about processes and
Mhm.
I'll dive into my own kind of experience and the types of questions that I ask because there's actually what is it? It's oh gosh. Here we go. Yeah, principle 2 of the book is stop selling, start solving. And
Mhm.
it speaks directly to what you were just saying, Lisa, is you first have to identify that need.
Yeah,
Um, our broker of record at Exit, his name is Greg Rulin. He constantly preaches, find the need, feel the need, find the need, feel the need.
correct.
And then I have become a product of that myself, and I echo that same thing. Like you just need to ask the right questions. And
Mhm.
but yeah, but first you got to get them to open up, right? And you do that by establishing that trust. And we all know that energy is contagious. And we've,
Mhm.
kind of bounced this idea around like attracts like. If you're constantly
Yes.
stressed, fearful, angry, you need to check yourself. You need to check your
Yeah,
broadcast. People will notice these patterns. People will find that energy. Something else to kind of keep in mind that your environment is either going to feed you or drain you.
yeah,
Everything that is around you in your space, it's either going to give energy or take it away from you. And I'm
Mhm.
not diving into kind of like the spiritual like stones or crystals or whatever. But I'm just talking about just even like the lighting in your room or I mean, whatever it may be, the type of content that you consume.
Yep.
I have to be careful. I have a kind of a rule for me is I limit my media intake, and I literally am talking about the news, current events, because if you read too much of it at a certain time of day, you're going to get depressed and you're not going to want to do
Mm-hmm.
anything for the rest of the day.
You're not going to want to go to HEB, okay? Because that's listen, I live with a PTSD soldier, and let me tell you, listen, I'm gonna need you to address the room. Look, check who's walking behind you. I'm
Right,
like, listen, it's gonna be okay.
right,
Yes.
It's gonna be okay. We're going for milk. It's gonna be
right,
all
right.
right.
The chances of us encountering a V-bit on the way is low.
Okay, I'm
So-
like, I promise you. Or you get in your mood and then you go, I wish they would. And then that
right.
makes it even worse.
But then you're giving off that energy, and now if you're looking
Yeah,
for
and
a
then
fight,
that
you might
doesn't
find one,
that doesn't
right?
make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I
Well, and
run tests on
that's where
him.
the aspect of discipline comes in. And the argument here that Kendall makes is that a good ninja will have discipline that protects your mental and your emotional bandwidth, and you that way when you are broadcasting, because you always are, you are giving off those good vibes, right? Uh, you don't argue with low energy as well. My dad used to tell me who's the greater fool, the fool or the fool who argues with the
Mm.
fool. And so the best thing that you can do is not to engage with that, whatever it is, just reduce or limit or maybe even eliminate sometimes your exposure to it. And that could be people,
Mhm.
that could be ideas, that could be a Facebook channel. I mean, who knows, whatever it may be.
Listen, that could be sunshine. You have to go outside.
Oh yeah,
At
no.
least for me, you have to go outside. You have to open up the windows.
Mhm.
You can't be sitting in a dark room.
Yes.
Well, this is also physiological. Like vitamin D is a real thing that comes from ultraviolet. Whenever I was in Alaska, I was there. It was, in the wintertime, and it was, I think there was like 1 or 2 hours of sunlight, and I was working in a facility with no windows. And if I didn't go to lunch, I just didn't see the sun. And I noticed that my mood really shifted after I had been there for about a month or two.
Yeah.
And I was talking with my soldiers about it, and they were like, "Oh, you've got sad." And I was just like, "Are you guys messing with me? What are you talking about, man?" You know? And it's a real thing. It's a seasonal acute depression or something like that. Basically, it is a vitamin D
It is a
deficiency because
thing.
I wasn't getting, and I started taking vitamin D supplements and I felt a lot better about my life, you know? So yeah,
I
these
mean,
things
it's
are real.
even the office that you work with. You can't have hospital lighting in there. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
it absolutely is. Hospital lighting is that stuff that you see on those video games where the zombies are coming out of your first shooter games, that the
Mm-hmm.
zombies are coming out. I can't do that. And anytime I walk in a room and I see my kids in the room with that kind of lighting, I'm like, oh no, that's not going to happen. No, we're not
Right.
going to do this today. But we understand what you're
But yeah,
saying.
your environment is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the core idea is your thoughts are going to dictate your emotion, your feelings, your emotions, which are going to create your vibe, and that will create some sort of a result, be it positive or negative. So if you change your input, what you're taking in, the environment or whatever, the output is going to follow that. This is why routines, and I know a lot of people believe in affirmations. I believe that they are important. For me, I don't it's not for me. I tend to kind of wake up and I'm just like, let's go. Some people don't wake up with that energy. Some people need to go through the thing and have their vision board and say, I'm going to be great, I'm awesome, whatever your affirmation is. But the point is, these things are important. The
Yeah,
preparation aspect, the routine. Don't leave your emotional state, your don't leave it up to a roll of the dice.
yeah,
Be intentional, be deliberate, and make sure that you're planning so that you are giving off that right energy. You are giving it, what you need to give out so that you can receive what you would like to in return. So, that's something to just kind of keep in mind. continue, and that you're gonna have to self-regulate all day. Let's be real. Some things happen, and you're gonna have to check yourself. You're gonna have to make adjustments.
What
So
helps me out is that I I realize we all have been brought into this earth, and everybody's learning. Nobody has all the answers. Um, if they did, we would actually see a change because when people see stuff that works or know stuff that works, they do it. Um, what I've learned is you're go- you're not exempt from anything. I don't care how good looking you are, how butt ugly you are, how much money you have, how broke you are. You're not exempt from anything. You're gonna go through situations on your level wherever you're at.
mhm.
Now, what
Mhm.
I've learned is how you go through them. That's where you come into play. That's where your power kicks in. That's when you have the time to shine because how you go through it is completely up to you. That's what they don't tell you. You can cry about it, you can laugh about it, you can brush it off, you can you can not take it serious, or you can take it too serious. How you go through it is completely up to you, and you just sit back and think about what type of example do you want to be as you're going through this? Because what you're going through is not just for you; it's for the people that are watching you that are never going to tell
Mm.
you, but they have no one to talk to.
That's a big thing.
So
Yeah.
they're watching and they're seeing how you're handling this situation, whether they're saying it or not, and they're going to apply it to their life because when people see stuff that works, they do it. So when you go through stuff, just realize you have the choice to choose on how you're going to go through it and take a deep breath, reflect on all of your hard work and go through it like the great person that you are.
Mhm.
Henry, you
I
sound
love that
like a
how.
stoic. Are you familiar with stoicism at all, Henry?
No.
You're echoing a lot of Stoic principles, this idea that it's not the
Mhm.
thing that's happening around you, but rather your reaction to it that is the most
Mhm.
important. I think, and I put meditations in your hand, didn't I? I won't embarrass you and ask you if you've read the whole thing or not yet.
Yes, I have the book.
She's like, I have it. So kind of bringing this all full circle and viewing this all through the lens of a real estate professional, I think it's important that we kind of anchor it within that and maybe ask yourself before an opportunity or a conversation with a client, ask yourself, am I calm or am I rushed?
Mhm.
And I would argue if it's going to be a rush conversation, this is why I'm very intentional about setting a time and a place to sit down and have an actual true consult conversation with a potential client. We're not going to have it standing up in the produce section at HEB. I'm going to say, hey, let's set a time because we're not going to get through it all. It's going to be rushed. It's going to be just ugh. So, am I calm or am I rushed? Before you make a phone call with, especially before you have a hard conversation that you have to have sometimes with people, are you confident or apologetic? If you lead with an apology and you're tripping all over yourself, you're giving off some really bad vibes.
Mm.
Maybe before prospecting with somebody, and before you ask yourself, am I serving or am I chasing?
Mm.
Lead with value.
Yes, I
Lead
was
with
gonna say
value.
that. Yes.
I challenged an agent that I mentor a couple months ago. She was crafting a drip campaign for her CRM, emails and text messages that you kind of
Mhm.
send out and drip on potential clients. And I was reviewing her communicate her, what she was writing, and I said, "Now, who is this giving value to?" And she was like, "Well, I want them to do this." Mm-mm, mm-mm. Are you bringing them value? And I would, and she responded really well to this challenge, and she rewrote the whole thing. But my argument was that every interaction, every communication, everything that you send out needs to bring value to them. It needs to be value centric, and if
Mhm.
it is not, you need to ask yourself if you should really truly send out that communication or not, whatever that is. So just kind of a way to check yourself. Am I calm or rushed? Am I confident or apologetic? Or am I serving or chasing?
Yeah.
So some things to kind of think about. I would say that I would encourage everybody,
Yep.
maybe challenge yourself this week. what is one recurring thing or situation or exposure that drops your energy? Ask yourself if you need to limit or eliminate that thing this week. And then maybe look at the opposite side of it. What is something intentional that you can do to reset, to self having that discipline, that self-regulation? Is it breathing, music, taking a walk, an affirmation, going and having a moment with your vision board, whatever it is, and apply that. Apply that this week. Give it a shot. And I would argue, and really truly the gold standard might be to journal your how you feel before and afterwards. Like I'm bad about journaling, but what I will do is I will open up a voice memo and I will talk.
Mm,
I will talk to myself through my phone and I'll listen to the recording later because I'm not the write down on paper journal type, but I am the type that will press the record button on my memo and I will record it that way. Whatever works best for you. The
mhm,
point is to be intentional, to be intentional about grounding yourself, to be intentional about making sure that you are limiting the negative, reinforcing the positive, because that is directly going to impact the vibe and the energy that you give off, and people will respond to that. And that will
mhm.
absolutely impact your success or failure rate in this business and in your relationships with people in life. So rant over. Thanks for listening. Kind of went on a tangent there for a second. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest, guys.
But it's good
No,
that
you
you
were
say that.
good.
It's good that you say that because I'm actually going through that. So I meet with my therapist every Monday, and we talk about things like family. So when family was talking negative, and that was like 2 years ago, and it still affects me today. He told me, those things are small. He was like, recognize those emotions and actually kind of break them down, like dissect it and come at, think of it in a different approach, like think differently, just training your mind to think differently because
Hmm.
those things shouldn't affect me as how they is because it's it's small, you
It's
know?
a perspective thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
It's a
what I say.
perspective. Yeah.
It's a
Change your
it's a
perspective.
principle, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Change your perspective, you'll change your
Hmm.
life.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Well, I want to just and so that's kind of my rant. That's I don't have much else for you guys, but what questions do you all have about this, or maybe something that you feel if you read the text, something that you feel like maybe we missed that you want to dive into? What questions do you all have?
About
So
this one thing.
I gotta get the book. I'm gonna just say that.
Yes.
I'm gonna just say that.
Henry, I've got several copies. I'll put one in your hand, brother.
Okay.
So I'll get with you. We'll figure it out.
Amazon dropped mine off about 5 minutes before the Zoom. So,
She's like, let
Nice.
me read like, at least a couple of paragraphs right quick.
but yeah, no. And Jeremy, I'm actually I have a meeting with a vet in Coppers Cove
Hmm.
and about the pack I'm putting together a package for you and I'm gonna swing by those properties just to take a visual
Oh,
look
that. Okay.
for
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so
Okay?
much.
All right. And I'll put a whole thing together for you so that you can decide what you wanna do
Okay.
with
Yeah.
it. Okay?
Well,
All
what
right.
we may do is we may just deliver that together, you and I.
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Any other questions?
No, not about the book. Can we say after the meeting so I can show you something? I kind of need help on it. I don't understand. So
I'm
yeah.
I'm fine with that. What I'm also okay with, and this is entirely up to you
Hmm.
about how vulnerable you want to be or not be.
Hmm.
I'm perfectly fine with opening this up because I think that there might be an opportunity for others to learn as well. But
Okay.
I also understand that that's kind of scary. And if you want to bow out of that gracefully and say that I know, Jeremy, I would rather talk with you more privately, that is absolutely an option for you. So you want to do this more?
Yeah,
You're
I
more
am totally fine with that because, somebody may have this too. Somebody may have a question about this or they received that email. So I got an email. I'm gonna actually share my screen here. Screen.
Oh, hold on. I think I might have to make you a host or a co-host here.
Oh no,
Before we do that, I want to button up the ninja selling part of it all. Are there
Oh,
any questions
sorry. Yeah.
on ninja selling or chapter two or anything that we've discussed on this?
No.
I'm good. I'm about to hop off. So thank you guys.
All
Great
right, Anna.
discussion.
Bye, Anna.
Bye.
All right, well, fair enough then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the
Hey, Anna.
recording.